What's up, guys? In this video, we're going to cover the Fednow that's going to be launching in July next month. We're going to be covering Swift and upgrading the financial system and kind of settlement times for securities, so the stock market, as well as de-dollarization and Brics, as well as Ripple and what they're doing as far as boosting and upgrading the current way of payments and cross-border payments specifically, and then go into some central bank digital currency news and some interledger news as well too, and some other kind of research here. So if you're new here, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment and a like. We're going to get back into it as far as deep dives, newsletters, market updates every damn day. We're out here going to be doing it to the end. So leave a comment and a like. Let us know if you're going to be here with us. So let's dive straight into it. We got the pioneers of now, growing anticipation for instant payments. With the July launch offsite nearing, financial institutions and service providers are continuing to prepare for the Fednow service. The Pioneers of Now series from the Federal Reserve showcase leaders from these organizations about their progress and perspectives on instant payment implementation. Read more on the recent Pioneers of Now below. Navigate to the full articles to learn more. All right, so we have quotes. Preparedness has probably been our biggest advantage, knowing what we want and how to achieve it, being able to communicate that to our service provider. Our customers count on us when they have important and time-sensitive payments to make, and instant payments will be another tool in our toolkit. Instant payments will be transformative. The market will find applications that solve issues for our customers and the industry as instant payments become more commonplace in daily life and business. So let's see a little bit more on that. So we got Fednow that we can count on coming in July next month. And right here, so the train has already left the station, possibly making one more stop. Will you get on, and will you be able to, with Coinbase and Binance being sued, know what you hold? Very, very true. Arriving July 23, get on board. We had Rosie Rios say, the train has already left the station. It definitely has. We've seen XRP perform very well against the whole rest of the market. And pretty soon here, we're going to be seeing a lot of things come into effect as far as upgrading the system, and Ripple could have a direct role in that. So let's keep going, because that is one thing as well too that this dude mentioned will you be able to, with Binance and Coinbase being sued? To me, it seems like they're really trying to limit people getting into crypto during this time. So Australian bank won't let you buy more than $7,000 of crypto per month. Ridiculous. So that's why it's one of those things where you want to get your money in now, because I see a future where they start to limit the amount of money as a retail investor you can put in. Meanwhile, the institutions just load up. So that's one thing that I'm seeing going on right now. They're trying to limit the on and off ramps at the moment. And then we have Swift. So a year to go, how the securities industry is preparing for T+1. This was June 8th, so it was about like 6 days ago. In many markets around the world, T+1 is coming your way, or it could be soon, as more markets look to shorten their security settlement cycles. I'll see what this means for the securities industry and how firms are getting ready. So in most markets, a standard trade settles 2 days after the date when it was executed, or T+2 for short. But some regulators, following recent periods of volatility, are reducing the expected settlement date to 1 day. So in February 2023, India became the first major economy to introduce T+1, having phased it in slowly since February 2022. The US and Canada will follow suit in May 2024. So May 2024, the US and Canada are going to adopt T+1 for their markets in one swoop. So other markets, including the EU and UK, are currently consulting with the industry on T+1 as well. T+1 is no walk in the park, but it could help the securities industry better mitigate counterparty risks, generate capital, and lead to operational efficiencies. But while there are positives, getting ready for T+1 is not without its challenges. With the US now less than 12 months away from going live with T+1, she spoke to this person at Firebrand about where the potential issue and opportunities lie for financial institutions. Most people imagine that removing a date from the settlement cycle will reduce post-trade processing by 50%, but that's not the case. Instead of the 12 hours firms have to process trades under T+2, this will drop to just 2 hours in a T+1 environment. When you talk to people about some of the areas where issues may emerge with T+1, they highlight securities lending and borrowing, foreign exchange and liquidity, and concerns about a possible crunch in the middle office. So how will they be impacted exactly? So an investor trading US equities out of, let's say, Sydney will have to execute their foreign exchange transactions T or T+1 instead of T+2, forcing them to pre-fund their foreign exchange trades. Securities lendings could come under strain too, as firms will have less time to recall on loan securities. This might lead to more breaks and fails, resulting in an increase in penalties, Shorter settlement cycles will also mean less time for firms to carry out trade affirmations and confirmations together with their various asset servicing responsibilities like corporate actions. Exchange traded funds processing could face disruption too, especially if their underlying portfolios contain non-US securities that settle on T+2. So it'll be more painful for firms who are still using manual processes. This will require firms to move to full automation. So there needs to be greater investment in automation and zero-touch processing. A lot of post-trade processes still require manual intervention. So she goes into it. And while large institutions can rely on the follow-the-sun model to assist global clients out of multiple locations, this isn't practical for some smaller firms. Instead, these institutions are redeploying people to different time zones. For example, all right, it goes into it, but a focus on efficiency. Shorter settlement cycles also mean less time to correct any issues or manage exceptions that arise, with financial penalties in place for late settlement under the Central Securities Depository Regulations. Settlement discipline regime, increasing settlement efficiency is more important than ever. And that's why adopting a unique transaction identifier, UTI, across security settlement transactions is another way the industry is preparing for T+1. The UTI is an ISO message standard and is used by services like Swift Securities View that enables firms to track transactions end-to-end through their lifecycle. And with end-to-end tracking, firms can proactively detect and manage settlement discrepancies so that problems can be resolved before they occur and avoid costly settlement fails. The shift to T+1 will throw various complications, but they are manageable. Although existing technologies can support processes in a T+1 context, this will only work if there's automation throughout the chain. T+1 could be the tipping point that forces firms to retire manual processes in favor of straight-through processing. After all, the race to T+1 is on, and you're only as fast as your slowest link. There we go. So this unique transaction identifier will have to be looked into. And I'll definitely do a follow-up video on this for sure, because there's definitely some gold nuggets with this. But let's keep moving forward, because we have JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon urges against challenging US dollar's reserve currency status. He urged against challenging the US dollar's reserve currency status amid the ongoing de-dollarization trend globally. The United States is the fundamental foundation of the global economy. The US is the fundamental reserve currency. We shouldn't be challenging that. So he talks about de-dollarization and on USD hegemony. He shares his views on the U.S. economy and the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency with the press after meeting with the House Democrats on Capitol Hill. He said the U.S. economy is doing fine. Consumers are in great shape. Home prices have gone up for 10 years. Asset prices have gone up. Debt's in a good position. But he noted there's issues down the road. So we have to deal with those. Hopefully we'll get through all that. He's talking about energy, gas, oil, and the uncertainties surrounding the Russia-Ukraine war. And he also commented on the debt ceiling. So Congress passed a bill to suspend the debt ceiling limit until January 2025, which President Joe Biden signed into law on Saturday. Without this bill, the U.S. government would have defaulted on its debt obligations on June 5th. So he thinks it's fabulous we didn't have that debt ceiling crisis. And if I had my druthers, I'd get rid of it one day, the debt ceiling altogether. The United States is the fundamental foundation of the global economy, and we have the fundamental reserve currency. People rely on the consistency standards that we have, the rule of law, or investor protections. We shouldn't be challenging that. Meanwhile, a growing number of countries are ramping up efforts to de-dollarize and use national currencies in place of the USD in trade settlements, including the Brics nations and ASEAN members. There is also a proposal for a common Brics currency that is expected to be discussed at the Economic Bloc's upcoming Leaders Summit, which I believe is in August. So that's coming up in August. So de-dollarization emerging, but greenback will retain its dominance. Now you have two JP Morgan strategists have said the US dollar will retain its dominant position, even as it is being challenged by alternative currencies such as the yuan. If we keep going down, so while some have named the potentially upcoming Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa money as the currency that will finally topple the greenback, others have said China's yuan is more well-positioned to achieve this, talking about yuan in the global trade. So yeah, we're going to be seeing the unveiling of that Brics currency in August. And then Ron Paul warns Fiscal Responsibility Act will erode US dollar value, hasten loss of reserve currency status. Former U.S. Rep. Ron Paul has warned that the Fiscal Responsibility Act recently signed into law by Joe Biden will escalate government spending, debts, and deficits, and it will erode the value of the U.S. dollar, making it more likely that the U.S. dollar will lose its world reserve currency status sooner rather than later. And if we go down, Of course, this default will be felt by the people in the form of an inflation tax. This inflation tax may be the worst of all taxes because it is both hidden and regressive. And if we keep going down, they're talking about highlighting that the US dollar's global currency status is the only reason Congress has been able to run up such a huge deficit without causing a major economic crisis. And he cautioned that besides escalating government spending, debt, and deficits, it would also undermine the US dollar's dominance. So we're seeing that as well too. And then we have Brics right here. So European countries requesting membership into the bloc. So if we go down, yep, you have that BRICS summit arriving in August. South African BRICS ambassador said European countries have requested membership in the bloc. Speaking amid the foreign relations ministers meeting in South Africa over the next 2 days, it was revealed that countries from Europe, as well as Latin America and Asia, have submitted official requests. And I believe just the other day, Egypt joined as well too. So expansion is undoubtedly set to be a major talking point at the upcoming summit. Moreover, the development of the bloc has surprisingly caught the attention of European nations, and they have optimism about that. So European countries seeking to join BRICS, they're talking about foreign relation ministers for the BRICS countries are currently meeting in Cape Town over the next few days. Additionally, constituents from nations like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Egypt, which just happened the other day, and Kyrgyzstan will also be joining. During the meeting in the upcoming summit, the expansion will be a focal point, and the meeting has revealed that European countries have requested membership in the BRICS bloc. And then if we keep going down, so this is the first time that countries from Europe have even expressed interest in joining the collective, but it's yet to be unseen if they're actually going to join or not, but it will definitely be talked about the expansion at this upcoming August summit. So importantly, all signs seems to point to BRICS expansion being a matter of when, not if. And the writing's on the wall with that. We're seeing it every day. Then we have this. So this is from Brad Garlinghouse. He's doing a little talk here. Let's run into it.
It's helping transform finance businesses today. It's helping transform finance businesses today in a few different ways. And I think one of the challenges for the industry has been to focus on solving real problems for real customers. And Ripple, obviously, from its earliest days, focused on the problem around cross-border payments. That's a point of a lot of friction as measured by speed and cost. And by focusing there, we've been able to have a big impact on that, relatively small piece. But I think over the next years, you're going to see many financial transactions where a middleman sits, a middle transaction, an intermediary. Those will get removed, and we'll use blockchain and other digital asset type technologies to remove that friction. And I think all of society will benefit from improving the efficiency of those systems. I think you'll see that. Certainly, you've seen it in securities settlement as an opportunity. The financial transactions around bonds, around derivatives, a lot of these things take a while to settle, and the friction associated actually holds back the industry. Insurance is an industry I think you're going to see touched. Trade finance is an industry that really Ripple, some of our customers have invited us to participate in. And you've seen experimentation around identity in real estate and title management. And these are all examples where I think it's so hard to predict where this will go, in the same way that 25 years ago, when I first got involved in the Internet of Information, I never could have predicted on my smartphone I'd press a button and I'd have a car picking me up minutes later. I think this will permeate lots of different parts of our society.
Absolutely massive. I can't wait for the day where we see this all come to fruition, talking about real estate, talking about real estate tokenized, talking about derivatives tokenized, even touching upon security settlement, on that being straight through processing, as we just read in that SWIFT, T-minus 1 year away for the US. Truly unreal as far as the potential that blockchain is going to take. And then cross-border payments, he's talking about that, as well as just like the amount of money that is going to be expected to be transacted in cross-border payments. So the value of international payments continues to rise and is expected to be US $250 trillion in 2027. But remember, 2025, that's the key. So let me see if I have that pulled up. Yep, right here. So 2025, cross-border real-time gross settlement, 2020 to 2025. And you have all these different countries, all the different local payments, the real-time gross settlement systems, the global real-time gross settlement systems, XRP Ledger, right? And then CBs and LPs. And then the global real-time gross settlement will remove friction, costs, and risk from cross-currency transactions. Distributed ledger technology, and in particular, the XRP ledger, will enable banks to settle cross-currency transactions in real time, something impossible today. The XRP ledger can be accessed by all banks and liquidity providers, enabling healthy competition between banks and a better service for customers. Correspondent banks and liquidity providers will be able to reach more currency corridors and new customers, improving their service offering for other banks and clients. And the interledger protocol will enable financial institutions and central banks to make their existing infrastructure and processes interoperable with other currencies, asset classes, and the XRP ledger, which will be the global liquidity marketplace and the global decentralized real-time gross settlement system. It's been written in stone since 2017. And now we're seeing everything come to light. So now let's watch this. Central banks are working with Ripple to redefine global finance by harnessing the power of XRP and cross-border value transfer, which we know is going to be $250 trillion by 2027. Per this, Ernst & Young, highlighting the Bank for International Settlement Regulated Liability Network, June 2023. This was very recent. So let's listen to this, because XRP will be the ultimate powerhouse in the world of finance, 100%.
The goal is to help reimagine international finance for a new.
What would it take to protect financial stability? Well, interoperability.
We're in a transitional period right now. Central banks around the globe are transitioning.
How worried are you that, again, we're going to see a whole bunch of individual investors who wanted to get in the game really get screwed here and realize they didn't know what they were getting involved with?
I'm particularly concerned in something called the crypto token. Crypto is $2 trillion crypto asset space.
Full stop. Cryptos are highly speculative assets, but they're not.
It's not what the rules are and how they apply. It's who. If we don't get this right, virtual currencies have the opportunity to blow up in our AML system, as effective as it may be even today, meaningless. But we're going to come up one day, in all probability, where virtual currencies or some form are going to be a real challenge. It's going to be too late to try and regulate. Will have gone too large.
The technology exists today that could vastly lower the cost of provision of financial services, that could improve anti-money laundering efforts, and that could better protect people's privacy and security. That's there today.
Apple's really trying to solve that cross-border payments problem. Central bank digital currencies are domestic by nature. They're issued by a central bank, or potentially issued by a central bank. Ripple has partnered with several central banks around the world. Some we've announced that they're issuing and testing using the XRP ledger to issue their digital assets.
Huge stuff going on right now. So then we have this as well too. We got India's central bank aims to hit 1 million Cbdc users by the end of June 2023. 1 million. Although I know India has over 1 billion people, I believe, but still that's they're accelerating fast. But also at first, only the State Bank of India, ICICI Bank, Yes Bank, and IDFC First Bank were involved in the CBDC project. Later on, the Bank of Baroda, Union Bank of India, HDFC Bank, and Kotak Mahindra Bank also joined in. And also, this kind of reminds me, because I remember the other day with JP Morgan. Here it is. So we have JP Morgan and 6 Indian banks to settle dollar trades on Onyx blockchain system. The aim of the project is to settle dollar trades in real time around the clock, as opposed to over a matter of days and only during the work week. And look at the same banks, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, Yes Bank, and Dustland Bank. Same ones as who participated in the pilot and who are a part of this pilot program for India's central bank digital currency. So there we go. And they're looking to make CBDC QR codes interoperable with India's very successful UPI payments. Remember, the holy grail of cross-border payments. You update all the payment systems, the instant payments, which UPI is, so Unified Payments Interface. I believe it's a real-time payment system. Then you launch a CBDC. Then you need to make the CBDCs interoperable and the instant payment systems interoperable through a messaging standard like ISO20022 with the rest of the countries in the world. Then you have all these instant payment systems using a universal messaging language and their CBDCs, and have that interoperability factor baked in. So when it comes time to have a bridge digital neutral settlement asset sitting in between, you have the XRPs, the XLMs that will be able to facilitate that value exchange. That's how I see it playing out. So then let's go to the next one. We have Christine Lagarde. She was formerly the head of the IMF, now head of the ECB. Let's hear what she's got to say.
And those who are disrupted and those who survive, but it will be between those who are cannibalized because they're not seeing it coming and they're not embracing it, and those who self-induce that cannibalization. And I'm using cannibalization on purpose because it's a horrible word, but it's really what it means. It's you're going to disrupt your business model, you're going to change it, you're going to reduce your cost, you're going to fight your transactions, and you're going to continue to inspire confidence because you will build that on the basis of an existing backbone, which is your bank and the confidence relationship that you've established with your customers. So that's where I see changes happening now. If you think of Circle and Ripples and all those, that's where they are active, and I think
that's where they're active and helpful. Circle and Ripple, ECB, IMF, and this was a couple of years ago. I remember seeing that live. But then we have Project Dynamo catalyzing international trade for small to medium enterprises. Let's hear it.
Small and medium enterprises contribute to more than 50% and play a significant role in global, and yet they chronically face in developing countries alone. A typical global supply chain consists of an anchor buyer, and SME suppliers further down the supply chain often face challenges in obtaining finance because they have little collateral nor established credit record. The first SME finance project of the Bank for International Settlements Innovation Hub and a collaboration with the Hong Kong Monetary delivered a groundbreaking prototype. On the blockchain-based prototype platform, an anchor buyer buys a digital trade token. When the anchor buyer makes a purchase from a supplier, it makes a conditional payment to the supplier with the token at the same time. Different conditions could be programmed onto the token using smart contracts. For example, the payment will be effected when a reading has been issued on a trade platform, meaning the goods have been shipped. Or a higher price for the goods will be paid to a supplier when the supplier has achieved at an ESG rating. Payment will only be effected automatically when all conditions programmed on the token have been. Upon receiving a token, a supplier can hold the token until the fulfillment of the preset conditions and encash the token from the token issuer. Or, prior to the fulfillment of the preset conditions, the supplier can transfer all or part of token to an upstream supplier to offset the payables owed to that supplier, or sell the token to an investor on the platform. The last two options, in effect, provide the SME supplier with working capital.
So this goes back to what Swift was saying about that automation, and this is that straight through processing right there, and programmability of these new kind of digital tokens, and kind of the selling point as to why you would want to digitize and tokenize. So then we have XRP and XLM used in the Interledger Protocol transaction demo. Let's not forget, the Interledger Protocol will enable financial institutions and central banks to make their existing infrastructure and process interoperable with other currencies, asset classes, and the XRP ledger, which is the global liquidity marketplace and global decentralized real-time gross settlement system. So let's watch that video.
So I'm going to move some funds over SPSP via a payment pointer over to a Stronghold wallet. So Stronghold does operate a cryptocurrency exchange, which runs on top of the Stellar ledger. So behind this account is this Stellar ledger address, right? You can see I have no USD, 2.511 XRP. I also have some lumens, which don't show up in my balances here because that's the minimum reserve required to operate the account. Okay. So I'm going to start a stream. This is just a basic wallet, and I will send that to a Stronghold payment pointer, and that's just going to be my name. And so when I hit send, it's going to start sending the stream. Now this is a really basic wallet. It's only going to return when the whole stream finishes. So this is 1 XRP being sent. Thankfully, Strata's connector, it does actually go through a little bit faster than some of the other SPSP payments. So you can see there the XRP has been sent to that particular ILP address. Over at Stronghold, you'll notice that the XRP balance still hasn't updated, and it will take a little while to go through. Essentially, Stronghold is batching payments at certain time intervals. So we don't update the stream and settle it directly to your account straight away. We're going to spend some time waiting for a considerable amount to come through, and then we're going to settle that directly onto the Stellar ledger for you. So this is actually XRP anchored onto Stellar. You can see the balance has started to go up there, and now it's at 2.8 XRP. So if I refresh the page again, it may have gone up. It will auto-refresh, it takes some time. Okay, so you can see there on the ledger it's now 3.5. So that one XRP has gone through. I can now withdraw that from my account. I can send it somewhere else on the Stellar network or back to the XRP ledger directly.
So there we go. Even we had, as a special guest in this video, Stronghold. So SHX, the token, Stronghold, working hand in hand, I think, with IBM as well as Stellar, as well as it seems like now XRP, the Interledger, for this Interledger protocol transaction demo. And then we have a follow-up to that. So integration of banks, fintechs, and blockchain protocols within the Interledger protocol. We need blockchain protocols. Let's hear it.
The key is why, for financial inclusion, we need blockchain protocols. We need any company. Why? Because, again, in Chile, in Argentina, we cannot trust in one company, in one. So how can I build trust? For building a trust, you need many years for destroy. So if you don't trust in bank, your money in a blockchain protocol. It's your decision where your money is. So, but also, before some years ago, I believe it's my money, I decide how use that money, etc. But we forgot what freedom means. Freedom is not just about using my money anytime. If I lose the money, I need freedom, I need to assume.
So Interledger, basically the key is integration, connecting with everything. Then to finish it off, tomorrow we have the flare drop. Flare drop's happening. I had announced in one of my videos, I think this week, that I had, and I posted in the Discord as well too, in the case you missed an announcements, that I had stacked up on Flare and accumulated my goal now. So now every time on a monthly basis, when I get that Flare drop, I will use that to buy back in on the tokens I sacrificed to get the amount of Flare that was the end goal. So now every time on the monthly, I'll just use those coins to then purchase blue chip coins, as well as use it for monthly living expenses or monthly self rewards, as well as use it to invest in alternative assets like precious metals. So that's the strategy going forward as far as the hyper growth passive income strategy. And just want to kind of announce that at the end of this, as far as tomorrow is when the flare drop happens. So think about what your number is and kind of how you can facilitate that, because that's what I'm doing. You could either do it, you cannot do it. I just want to let you guys know what I'm doing and being transparent about that. So that's it for this video, guys. If you like it, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a like, and join the Discord. I'll leave the link in the bio for that. And I'll see you guys in the next video.